Good morning, good morning, good morning. People, what's going on? What's going on? Let me load up Instagram. Happy New Year's. Feels wonderful, feels great. What a year. What a past year. Man, let me let IG get on before I have this discussion. Today's going to be a great topic when we're talking about life. Happy New Year's to everybody. You guys already know who it is. Your boy Bobby from Mentourme.com, entrepreneur, life coach, investor, a guy just teaching you his experiences, all his mistakes, so you can financially win. What's popping? The bill was popping. As you guys know, New Year's Day feels wonderful, and I'm always thinking about just different things of life, but somebody sent me a topic, and this topic is actually a great topic. Today's topic is about, parents always want the best for their kids, right? And the question is, did they make the right decision? Some parents say, okay, you should go to school for this. Some parents feel that at the end of the day, this is the type of person you should date. Were your parents right? How do you know if they were right or not? See, we got to really start analyzing these type of questions because as grown adults, people, one of the reasons that some of us are financially struggling or having issues with life is because we have made decisions based on somebody else, not ourselves. I'm not saying don't take wisdom from your parents, but we got to get to a point to understand, was their choices the best choices for you? Really think about this. A lot of people are grown adults, but at young ages, okay, you couldn't make certain choices. Your parents had to make certain choices. As you got older, you got used to the lifestyle that you, of course, was raised on. Then, of course, you started making choices based on what you believe makes sense based on your parents. Now, the question is, did it all pay off? Did the decisions or the choices that your parents made for you, did it all pay off based on you being a grown adult? See, a lot of us, a lot of us don't take time to balance these questions because you got to really think about it. Some of you went to school for things that your parents told you to go to school for. Some of you are doing wonderful. Some of you are actually financially struggling in life because that route wasn't for you. Now you ask yourself a question. Can you blame your parents for wanting the best for you? Can you blame your parents for making a decision that they understood at that particular moment of life when life is continuously changing with technology and many other derivatives? People, at the end of the day, some of us have parents that came from different islands where when it comes to artificial intelligence, when it comes to EV, when it comes to the world of 3D printing and the world of just innovation, they don't understand it. So they'll probably tell you, look, go become a doctor, go become a lawyer. But the reality is, I always want you guys to think about this, right? Is your child built mentally to become a lawyer? Is your child built mentally to become a doctor? Is your child built mentally to become a law enforcement officer? Is your child mentally capable of understanding that type of task? Do they know how the law enforcement world works? Are they in the world to understand that a lot of law enforcement is not liked? People, I'm telling parents this, and we're talking about this discussion because there's a big problem here, and I'm going to be honest. The question is who's right, who's wrong. A lot of kids sometimes decide, I'm not going to listen to my parents. I'm going to do whatever the hell I want to do. And then they're financially struggling. They have nothing to show for all the years of living. They're 35, 37 years old. Then you ask yourself a question. Should you have listened to your parents? See, I have a belief, right? Growing up in a Haitian household, I've learned that parents have wisdom. Older adults have wisdom. Now, I want to have you guys understand, I come from a traditional household where the Haitian culture, where they're only going to tell you a couple different occupations. They're going to tell you to go become a nurse, a doctor, an attorney, a police officer, and maybe a firefighter. At the end of the day, it's not saying that's the most they understand, but that's all they're pretty much capable of understanding because of where they come from. So in their eyes, these 5 occupations automatically should put you in a successful position. But nobody really takes time to teach their kids well, or take time to really look at their kids and say, hold on, does any of these occupations really fit my kids? Is my child capable of doing any of these occupations? Because let's be honest, let's look at an attorney. An attorney requires a lot of retention, a lot of schooling, a lot of homework, a lot of researching, even a doctor. You have to be very bright to be a doctor and an attorney. And you have to be very attentive to a lot of different things to really be successful in these particular areas. And then, of course, after all the schooling, all the debt, you have to go work for a facility, maybe most likely a hospital or a lawyer's office. Then from there, try to open up your own establishment. And that's how you take the whole route of freedom. And we got to really think about this. Imagine. With these occupations of being a doctor, an attorney, a dentist, the schooling alone might be 8 to 10 years. Hypothetically, the child is 20. You told them to go to school to become an attorney or a doctor. Now they're 30 years old. All they've been doing is school, research, homework. But here's the thing. They're 33 now, 34 now. Their dating life sucks for some of them. They still can't figure out how to properly maneuver back into reality because all they understand is research, school, and what their parents taught them. Then they get older and regret the fact, some of them regret the fact that this is not the degree they ever wanted to do for real. Now they're in a position of making a big decision of life. After doing 10 to 12 years of schooling, you got to really think about this. Some kids have decided, I'm not going to take the route that my parents told me I should take when it comes to elevating and being financially free in life. See, the topic we're having today for everybody that's on live and IG is a lot of your parents are always going to tell you what's best for you. When it comes to education, when it comes to dating, when it comes to a lot of different aspects of life. The question is for today's live, and you guys could put your comments below. How do you know if your parents are right or wrong? Because one of the things I want to say this to parents, right? It's very important you understand what type of child you have. Some people have children that's very self-driven, very motivated. And we're talking children that we need to understand what type of child we have at high school ages. The reason I say high school, I've seen a lot of children transition when they leave from middle school to high school and come into real life after high school, which is college. See, you have a certain type of child when you're in middle school, elementary school. Great. The child probably tells you, I want to be a police officer. I want to be a firefighter, because that's all they're programmed to seeing at school. I want to be a doctor, blah, blah, blah. When that child gets into the world of high school and college, now they have something called peer pressure and social factors, where now someone or somebody or certain types of lifestyles can really have them unfocused. And the child really has to understand what makes sense to them, not just lifestyle-wise, but financially. Because if you're a child and you know you came from nothing, and your parents, of course, they're telling you to go to school for, hypothetically, nursing, are you capable of handling nursing classes? Are you capable of handling classes that involve being a doctor, classes that involve being an attorney? Are you that bright child that understands that in order to be an attorney, you have to, usually you're not going to be in community college. It's like, you see, I had a friend. What's going on? Ronald was popping. Gonzalez was popping. Good morning, people. Happy New Year's. Today's topic is about understanding parents who have kids, okay? And you have given your children all the best choices that you believe make sense. The question is, are you right or wrong? And the reason I'm asking is because as I'm sitting down with a lot of people's children, if you really think about it, that's somebody's children, no matter if they're 30, no matter if they're 35, no matter if they're 45, no matter if they're 25. This is someone's children. This is someone's child, sorry. I'm always sitting down with different people who book me for sessions. And I'm starting to realize something. A lot of the times, some of these children, aka my mentees, are complaining that they didn't even want to go to school for what they went to school for. So they decided to get a degree just to get the parents off their back. But what's funny to me, some of them are still financially struggling. So the question is, should you have gone to school for what your parents told you to go to school for? And I get it. Coming from a Haitian household, I get it. Coming from an island household, I get it. Parents want you, they usually say, I want you to become a lawyer, a doctor, a pharmacist. Because these are very stable type of occupations, and you could transition yourself to any part of the world with these type of occupations. But the thing is, some kids now, they're in the world now, I want to be a YouTuber. I want to be an influencer. I want to go to school for coding. Some parents don't even know what coding is. The question is, should the parent make that decision and say, hold on, listen, son, I hear you, but look, we have a whole family of attorneys. I think the best decision for you as an individual is to become an attorney. Parents, it's important you understand what's being done here. Because sometimes in certain families, there's generational occupations, such as being an attorney, being a doctor, being a dentist. But you grow to have a child nowadays in the world of the new generation. The child says, no, I want to be an influencer. I want to be a YouTuber. The child says, no, I want to go to school for coding. I want to go to school for IT engineering. Are they right or wrong for making the decision that they're going to make? My thing is, I want to say this. I'm going to talk to the children for a minute, the high school, college, even the grown adults, because some of you are children. You're somebody's children. Do you feel your parents gave you the best decision based on the lifestyle you have? Or can you say that, honestly, they did give me the best decision. I decided not to use it. That's why I'm financially struggling. See, in life, you're always going to have choices. You're always going to have to make decisions. So I always tell people, if you're going to college, okay, or if you're making decisions, you have to ask yourself a couple things. Yes, I believe parents have a lot of wisdom, but I also believe that young adults need to understand what they want in life. But you also got to understand, when you have children, what type of child do you have? You may want them to be a doctor, but they're not mentally capable of being a doctor. And that's the honest truth. Ronald said it straight. Ronald put a comment. When you are a parent, you only want what's best for the child. But we can't control their future. They have to live their own lives and learn in the moment, which is very true. Now, the question is, how does a child make the right decision? Their parents are telling them, based on the wisdom, based on what they feel is right for them, this is what they should do to be great 10 to 15 years from now. Some children have taken that route that the parents did. Now they're sitting down with me as grown adults, and they're upset that they listen to their parents because they're financially struggling. And some children decided not to listen to their parents, and they're regretting the fact that they should have listened to their parents because they're financially struggling. See, choices in life is very difficult to make. You have to make decisions every single day. Waking up in the morning, I had to make a decision today. Should I make a normal breakfast or should I make a smoothie? Every moment of life, you're making decisions. The question is, which decision makes more sense? The reason I'm having this live topic, because a lot of kids are becoming grown adults, or they're pretty much now grown adults. And these grown adults are sitting down with me, and they're booking me for sessions. Some are very happy with the decisions that their parents decided to embed in them when it comes to financial growth. And some of them are very upset for them listening to their parents. So I decided to have this live, and I want to hear your comments, people that's live right now on IG and Facebook. Who's right and who's wrong? Do you feel that kids these days could have the right decisions or make the right choices based on their parents? But if they don't have the right self-drive, the choice or decision they made still won't make a difference? Or is it that sometimes parents are just putting these choices and decisions in these children's lifestyle, but not really analyzing, does that really fit my child? Because some parents love to say, go have a child, go become a nurse, go become a doctor, go become an attorney. Is your child mentally capable of that? Is your child a researcher? Does your child love to do homework? Is your child very attentive towards things? Do they like to, of course, be receptive towards information? Do they understand what they're reading? Do they like to read? Because in the world of being a doctor, a nurse, an attorney, you have to have a lot of mental capacity, because it's not just a 1-2. That's why a lot of people go to school for almost 10 years, a decade, to become a successful doctor, attorney, or a lawyer. Well, attorney is a lawyer. Doctor, attorney, or let's say, for example, a dentist. I see another comment. I want to hear your comments below. I want to hear what you guys have to say. Should young children, when they're in high school going to college, should they listen to their parents, or should they make their own choices based on what they believe? Because again, these decisions make a difference to the lifestyle they live 10 to 15 years from now. Who's right and who's wrong? The bill says, shouts out to the Middle East right now, what's popping. I think parents should take time to explain to their kids the different careers and what are the pros and cons, and guide them, and don't just say be a doctor. I like what the bill says. And the bill, I feel you on that, because here's the problem, right? I get it. Some parents, they're only programmed to having their kids become a doctor. Some parents, I get it. Some families, your generational pipeline is doctors. So now you believe, okay, well, this child should be a doctor too. But then what happens if you have a child, they go through the school of becoming a doctor, and they're failing all night long. They can't get it right. They realize mentally this is not meant for them. Should they pick another career choice that better suits them? Or because the generational factors of all the family members who are doctors in their pipeline, they should just continue and try their best to become a doctor. But what about, again, they become a doctor, they're not a good doctor, they lose their license, and again, they regret it for life that the decisions my parents forced me to do is what's having me financially poor or financially struggling right now? Or is it the simple fact that sometimes it's not the degrees? It's simply, I think parents also, it's very imperative. Parents, start educating your kids on money management. Start educating your kids also on degrees they take. Will it give you the lifestyle that they want? What lifestyle do you want to live? Because it makes a difference. When I went to school for my first degree, I went to school for accounting. Then I ended up getting 2 more degrees in finance and economics. But I had to learn, my family coming from the Haitian culture, we were poor. Me knowing that my family coming from the Haitian culture, we didn't have much. So I went to school, ended up getting 3 degrees, but I got degrees in things that made sense. I first went to school, got my first degree in accounting. Then I got my second degree in economics and also in finance. But I had to learn in life, this degree should be able to at least bring me home at least $100,000 or $80,000 on the low end. Even though I really never used the degree, okay, I knew it still would give me the lifestyle. If life ever got rough, one thing I can say, this degree should be able to at least give me $80,000. I love what Eric even said. Eric put a post. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. I would love to hear what he has to say, which is true. But let me see. Somebody else put a comment too. Milford Sean. Sean, what's popping, baby? Parents should understand each child they have and logically think and challenge their kids before they make a drastic decision, which is very true. Because people, I want you guys to understand, as I'm sitting down with grown adults, they made decisions years ago with their parents or without their parents. And some are suffering based on either listening to their parents or not listening to their parents. And that's why they have poor money management. Some of them went to school for degrees that's not bringing them any type of true lifestyle, any type of true foundation, a whole bunch of school loans. It's so tough to say who's right and who's wrong. I think some things I want to say too is you can't blame all of it on parents. Children, you have the ability to go on Google. You have the ability to go on YouTube and research an occupation and find out how much income does it pay in per state when you really think about it. Let's talk about per state. You also have the ability to understand, will this degree give you the lifestyle, and what's the average debt that you will accumulate finishing up this degree on a bachelor's or a master's level? Then you have to also ask questions like this. If you're a child or a grown adult, do I need a bachelor's degree or do I need the master's? Because sometimes I even see this happens too. Parents push kids to go get a master's degree, accumulate so much debt, they didn't even need the master's. The bachelor's would have sufficed. See, but it all goes back to due diligence. People are not utilizing the tools that exist, such as Google and YouTube. You have ways to find this information. You could also call local businesses and sometimes try to go talk to the owners. And you know what? Before you even here's another thing too. Before you even put your kids in a certain type of occupation, why don't you say that? Why don't you try this? I recommend trying this. Internships are very valuable. But I also believe this. Why don't you try to find a local business and have your child work once a week for free? Tell them you don't want your child to get paid. I want my child could do whatever you need them to do for free, just once a week. I just want them to see if this occupation that they're going to school for is really what they want to do. So they can see the world of what they're going to school for in reality. Because that's another problem too. Schools, professors, parents, friends tell young individuals, go to school for this and that. Then after they've done all that school and they realize, whoa, I made a mistake. I'm done, but I got the wrong degree. I'm done. I'm still financially struggling because the amount of debt that I have and this occupation doesn't pay enough. Maybe in this state, maybe in this city. So the question is, who's right and who's wrong? Okay. Milford says again, we got to understand that some adults are poor decision makers, which is very true. Because that's a very true statement to say. Can parents be poor decision makers? 100%. And you could tell based on a lot of different factors. One is sometimes I know this is kind of new information for some people, but really think about this. Sometimes as a grown adult, when you look at your mother or father, if they didn't come from, let's say, a third world country, which I'm going to have to use that excuse because why? Some people don't have the language. There's the language barriers that's killing them. Some people weren't able to get an educational opportunity in the United States of America. When you look at an American individual, born and raised in America, citizen, that you call your mother or father, 50 years old, 60 years old, and don't have nothing to show, not a home, no assets, barely have any savings. Is it true that you should still, because it's your parents, take advice from that particular parent? Could it be true that a parent in that particular situation could give you very bad decision choices? Can parents give you bad choices in life that can hinder you financially for the rest of your life? I believe yes. I believe yes. I believe not every parent understands the route for their children. Some of you may not understand what I'm saying because I'm sitting down with these adults who were once children of somebody, and they're still somebody's child. So as I'm getting these sessions every week, I'm seeing the result of the choices that these parents decided to choose and the choices and decisions that these children decided to make at grown adult ages. It's such a difficult decision to make. Ronald said, what's popping? Ronald says, once you turn 18, you have to learn every day as an opportunity. You have to learn that every day has an opportunity to change. We can't blame nobody. It's very true. This is why I don't believe, even if you're wealthy, I don't believe in handing kids anything. I believe in teaching kids from day one, teaching them what it is to work for $1, teaching them how to make decisions. I'm going to tell you a funny story. I used to date a woman, and she had a child, and the child was older, let's say 15. I'm so big on decisions that I remember we would go out to eat. Let's say, for example, let's say she brought her son, who's 15. She would pick food for the son. I would get upset and say, that's not how it's going to be done. Let him make his own choice. I feel even in those diameters, it makes a difference. A child that's 15 years old, you're still, as a parent, picking what they're going to eat at 15? A child at 15 knows what they want to eat if you give them a couple different options. And I feel problems like that, decisions like that, is what hindered kids from young ages to not be able to make grown decisions. At 15 years old, you're still picking food for a child? That's crazy. At 10 years old, I know what I want to eat. If I want hypothetically a bologna sandwich, I know I want to eat a bologna sandwich. If I know I want to eat cereal, I know I want to eat cereal. If I know I want to eat a certain type of food, I know what I want to eat at 10, 12 years old. At 15 to 17 years of age, there are still parents that will let a child go to a restaurant and they will pick the food for the child. The child simply never picks, never knows what he wants. That's a problem. Because when that child hits 18, like Ronald says, and then now they have to deal with real life. 21, they're dealing with real life. They don't know how to make decisions. They don't know how to make a choice in life. And you ask yourself a question, who hindered them? Who hindered them? The problem started from when they was younger. You never let them learn the world of making choices. And we got to understand how important this topic is, because grown adults are still having problems making choices, making decisions. And I'm not going to sit here and make it seem like I'm perfect. But parents, I want you to understand, you could always raise your child the best you can. Love your child. Embrace your child. But also, too, I love what somebody said earlier. Take time to understand the degrees that they want to go to school for and the degrees you think they should go to school for based on who they are. Understand what type of child you have. Ask them a question. What lifestyle do you want 10 years from now? Do you know how much debt you will be in? Do you know what type of salary you can make as a starting salary? And what's the cap by theory that you think you can make based on this degree? These are questions to really ask. So as these young children get older and become grown adults, they're not financially struggling because they made the right choices and they picked the right decision. See, a lot of us need to understand that life is based on decision and choices from the moment you wake up every single day. Based on what you eat for breakfast, what you eat for lunch, what you eat for dinner, you're going to make a choice. You're going to make a decision. This is a great topic. Shouts out to the person who sent me this topic. And if you ever guys want me to talk about a particular topic, I think this topic was very healthy. Because again, people have children that become grown adults. And sometimes they're financially struggling because of choices they made based on listening to the right or wrong person. Parents always want to, of course, see you be great. They're always going to try their best to give you the best opinion that they could possibly give you when it comes to a grown life decision. But it's not always right or wrong, like Eric says. You have to know your kids. Sometimes you don't know how your kids could redevelop or readjust into going the wrong direction as they get older. Parents, keep being you, keep being great, keep making great choices and decisions for your kids. But understand at the end of the day, one day that young child is going to be a grown adult. Teaching from young how to make better decisions, how to make better choices, especially with friends. Because I see a lot of problems when you hang around the wrong people. That's another problem I see. We'll talk about that another day. When young kids become grown adults and they've been hanging with the wrong people all their life. We're going to talk about that another day. It's Queen says, before I get off, she says, I'm so sick of debt. Self-study works. You just have to be disciplined. A lot of people don't realize that self-investment is very important. Nowadays, they ask a question, is school really for you? Do you need school to be successful? The real question is, what is success? Is success a home? Having $20,000 in the bank? Is success being happy? Being loved and having some money in the bank and having some retirement? Having something to show for a living? Is success making $150,000 a year? What is success? See, these are things I think it's also imperative parents talk to their kids about. Because you hear some people say this broad statement, I want my child to be successful. What is successful to you? You may want to start to explain that to your child, especially in the world that we have right now with so much inflation, home prices to the ceiling, the cost of living is out of control. What is success? And I think when young children start to understand, when they're going in high school or leaving high school, going into college, when they start to understand what is success and you broke it down and they really understand it, I believe they're going to make better choices because they're going to understand that life is not a game. And if you pick the wrong degree or you make the wrong choices going to college, 10 to 15 years from now, you will probably sit down with a guy like me, a mentor, and you're going to ask yourself, damn, either yes, I'm so happy with the decisions I made, or my God, the amount of school loans that I have and the degree I went to school for is not what I thought based on what my parents told me. Decisions, decisions, decisions. Is your parents always right in life? That's the question. Love your parents, kids. This is something to really think about. Parents, I love you all. I'm just here to have you guys see things in a different dynamic. Because like I said, I'm now sitting with the results of some of your decisions. I'm sitting down with your once little kids. They're now grown adults now, 35, 45 years old. I'm sitting down with them now. Based on the decision they made 25 years ago, I'm now getting to see the results. The question is, who was right and who was wrong? Or maybe there was no right or wrong. People make decisions. Love you guys. One God. I got to get to the gym. Happy New Year's to everybody. Hope you guys share this video. This is a great video to rewatch. This is a great video to share to a lot of your friends because the valuable content in here is so impressive. I want you guys to understand decisions are being made every single day. I got a lot of great content coming up. I got a lot of great interviews. Every Tuesday night, I'm interviewing a local entrepreneur, a local professional, letting you know what do they do. This Tuesday, I'm interviewing a woman who is in the world of the spa industry. This is going to be a great interview at 9 p.m. Make sure you guys are live on YouTube every single Tuesday. And then, of course, the following Tuesday, I got my investor, my boy from Israel, will be in the building live. Mentourme.com. It's your boy, Bobby from Mentourme. You guys have a great evening, actually morning on this beautiful New Year's Day. Happy New Year's. Be the best you. Be better than last year. One God. Mentourme.com.